Kamala, I finished your homework for you. Sup, Matt. Sweet.
Kamala Harris finally debuting her economic platform in a few hours. It's got new tax credits, costly support for first-time homebuyers, and a federal ban on, quote, price gouging.
This morning, she announced several proposals for her first 100 days in office aimed at lowering costs for American families. They include a tax incentive to build a starter home, up to $25,000 in down payment assistance to first-time home buyers, expanding the child tax credit, and a tax cut for lower-income individuals and couples.
Like, for an economist, this is about the most terrifying proposal I've ever seen, because what Kamala Harris is saying is that the government needs to set the price of things. This is absolute socialism, and it never ends well. If you go back and look at the countries that have tried this, like Cuba, Venezuela, Ukraine, back when the Soviet Union organized it, then it leads to famine and shortages.
In a move that has sparked widespread concern among economic conservatives, Vice President Kamala Harris has unveiled a new economic policy proposal that critics say bears an alarming resemblance to socialist ideologies. Were he alive today, this one would warm the cockles of Karl Marx's heart. While Harris and her supporters argue that the plan aims to address the nation's growing wealth gap and economic inequality, detractors warn that its implementation could lead the United States down a dangerous path towards socialism, threatening the very foundations of America's free market economy. At the heart of Harris's proposal is a comprehensive set of measures designed to increase government intervention in the economy, including decreasing food costs, significant tax increases on the wealthy, expanded social safety nets, and new regulations aimed at curbing corporate power. Among the most controversial elements are a proposed wealth tax, a significant expansion of government-funded health care, and sweeping new labor regulations. If Harris really wants to lower food prices, she should get out of the business of setting the prices of consumer goods and services, and lower instead the cost of government, the root cause of inflation. Harris's wealth tax proposal targets individuals and families with net assets exceeding $50 million, which she argues is necessary to fund social programs and reduce income inequality. However, critics see this as an overreach that punishes success and undermines the principles of capitalism. By redistributing wealth from the nation's most successful entrepreneurs and innovators, opponents argue that Harris's plan disincentivizes investment and job creation, potentially stifling economic growth. Another cornerstone of Harris's policy is a proposed expansion of government-funded healthcare, which would extend coverage to millions of Americans. While this might seem like a compassionate initiative, critics argue that it represents a dangerous encroachment of government into the private sector. The fear is that such a plan would lead to increased government control over the healthcare industry, reducing competition and leading to inefficiencies that could ultimately degrade the quality of care. We've seen what happens in countries where the government controls healthcare: long wait times, reduced innovation, and a lack of patient choice. Harris's policy also includes proposals for stricter labor regulations, including higher minimum wages and increased protections for gig economy workers. While these measures are intended to improve conditions for workers, critics argue that they could have the unintended consequence of burdening businesses, leading to layoffs and stifling the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy. The more the government interferes with how businesses operate, the more it starts to resemble a command economy. These types of regulations are straight out of the socialist playbook, where the state dictates terms that are best left to the market. The overarching concern among opponents of Harris's economic policy is that it signals a broader shift towards socialism in America. They argue that her proposals, while perhaps well-intentioned, reflect a dangerous ideology that has historically led to economic stagnation and loss of individual freedoms in other countries. This is about more than just individual policies. It's about the direction we want our country to go in. Harris is taking us down a road that many Americans have fought against for decades. This is not what our founding fathers envisioned for this nation. Harris has to realize we can neither spend our way to prosperity, nor can we borrow our way out of debt. What she fails to understand is that the very profit motive that she condemns is what makes businesses self-regulating. It prompts business owners to keep their costs and prices down in order to remain competitive within their particular industry. Harris has never once run a business of her own, has never had to pay a single employee's wages out of her own pocket, but ironically is now telling actual business owners how to run their own businesses. As the debate over Harris's economic policy continues, it remains to be seen whether Americans will embrace her vision of a more equitable society or reject it as a slippery slope towards socialism. One thing is clear: the proposed policies have ignited a fierce debate about the future of the American economy and the role of government in shaping it.